Hello, everybody. So, this is going to be an episode all about a certain sort of person, and this is the sort of person who seems to be very adept or very able at gaining people's trust. Now, I've never been the sort of person who can gain people's trust. I've been the sort of person who has been, I think, largely distrusted by most people I know, so parents, teachers, everybody I've known, really friends, have all distrusted me. And I don't know, like I don't think I've ever been the sort of person who goes out looking for people's trust. And I'm the sort of person also, if I had someone's trust, I wouldn't really know what to do with it, if you know what I mean. Like it's an interesting thing because yeah, like I don't know, I don't want people to trust me. Not really. It's like, but that's on the same sort of level that I don't really want people to be afraid of me, or I don't want people to hate me, but I don't sort of, I'm not adept at gaining trust. Like, because how do I describe this? Like, I don't really want trust out of people because I have nothing to use that trust for, or it doesn't interest me since I would never really ask anything of anyone else where they'd need to trust me. Do you know what I mean? Or like I've asked a friend for money once in my entire life. And I was at a very low point. I was homeless. My universal credit had run out, and I asked a friend to sort of help me out with money. But yeah, like by and large, the way I treat other people's trust is like, well, you trust me, great, but you don't really need to also. And if you trust me, it's like, well, that's lovely, but I prefer just to, like, I don't really want trust from people. I don't want to know about their lives or their deep dark secrets. I'm happy to know about it if they want me to know about it. But this is less about me. This is more about the sort of person I know. This is one of my best friends from school, and he has a curious ability to gain people's trust. And he's the sort of person everyone trusts him. He was the teacher's pet at school. Everyone thinks he's like a very upstanding, decent, completely moral sort of guy. Um, very intelligent, very hardworking. Too intelligent by half, really, I think. And yeah, I knew him. I knew him well, and yeah, very like, but trustworthy. No, he wasn't trustworthy in the slightest. He was going around doing all sorts of things at school. At school, by the way, as a 15-year-old, he was trying to rip off a national newspaper, the Sun newspaper. He was trying to sell off a fraudulent tip-off for £5,000 and trying to defraud a newspaper. And then I was writing this novel at school. He tried to steal that from me. He stole the girlfriend of one of the nicest guys I've ever met, and all this sort of stuff at school. And like, was he trustworthy? Like, yeah, like everyone sort of liked him, but crucially, everyone trusted him, and I trusted him as well. Well, actually, no, like, I don't trust him as such ever. I don't know, like, if I've ever trusted him, because like we met in a biology class, and he came scuttling over to me on sort of one of the first days of school or something at A level, and he plonked himself down next to me, and he was like, "I'm going to," and it's almost like, "Oh, I'm going to attach myself to you, and you're going to be like my first mark, almost," and that sort of generated a level of suspicion at that point, and we sort of got like got talking a little bit, and I discovered that he wanted to be a writer and I wanted to be a writer, or maybe he was just saying that he didn't really want to be a writer. I don't know. But then he produced this book that he'd written. Like, oh, you really do want to be a writer? But then later on in the exchanges we had, he revealed that he wanted to be a barrister. And then this idea of being a barrister sort of went away, and he wanted to be a literary agent. And that was after the point in which the book that I'd started writing got stolen. And, or maybe not stolen, but, and yeah, like a very good talker, or curiously socially adept in a way I've never been able to be. And I have tried to be at certain points in my life. I tried a career in sales, or not a very short-lived career in sales, where I wanted to try and figure out, I think, well, no, I didn't. I really just wanted money. But yeah, like I've also, in the course of doing so, figured out that yeah, I could gain people's trust if I followed the script that I was given as a salesman. And like phone sales, I managed to get a few sales in. None of them really went through, or like a couple went through, and I got money off people. But like when I got to that point of having gained someone's trust, I sort of I got this really creepy feeling about myself. You know what I mean? Like it's like, no, I didn't really want that. I've sort of like I've hit this point with another human being where they trust me, and I don't really know what to do now. And like I don't know, like maybe like there are people out there, like I've had friends also, like maybe they've trusted me implicitly, or maybe I've had lots of friends who I know have never tried to exploit me, and I know like I can trust them. But then there are other people, like this guy I'm describing, who like more or less from the get-go, from his little scuttle over to me in biology, like, well, you're trying to do something here. You're trying to like attach yourself to me. I don't understand what's happening. And I had this very long kind of almost like sadomasochistic relationship as friends, which I really enjoyed. Actually, I loved the cut and thrust of it. I love the little games of cat and mouse intellectually. I love all that. I really do. I love the fact that like when like the subject of 9/11 comes up, he takes the sort of dogmatic approach of saying, you believe in conspiracies. I'm like, I don't believe in conspiracies. I know for a fact conspiracies happen. It's slightly different. And you know, he's like, you just believe in bullshit. And like a little bit of ego rises in him when he thinks he's won. And I'm like, but what about Building 7 though? And he's like, but they put charges in the basement. It's like, who's they? And so on. And you know, and then like I had this moment of glory, frankly, on the subject of conspiracies, where I brought up MK Ultra, and it was after having watched an Adam Curtis documentary on BBC. And I just saw him in school for A levels this one day. I was like, "Did you see the documentary the other night? You know, all those mind control experiments the CIA were doing in the '60s. Think of all the people they'd have to keep quiet. Sounds a bit conspiracy-ish, doesn't it? But it's the revealed truth from the United States government. They owned up to it and all that. And it's sort of like petty regressive leftist attitude was just shifted back a step when I made that little advance forward. And I quite like myself for that. But yeah, like and I would see him doing this. I would see him like go, because he got me first, because I must have seemed to him like a good sort of hit. But then like maybe because I'm a class clown sort of person, I'm not someone who, but he would do this thing like, getting the attention and the trust of teachers was very important to him, and he'd go from person to person, group to group, sort of saying things and trying to ingratiate and being a bit of a social butterfly. And yeah, and networking at school, and like crafting and casting his little net. And it just makes me wonder, like, to what end are you doing this? What's the objective here? What's the game plan? Because after all, you're supposed to be a writer, are you not? And the writer is obviously a very solitary creature. Shouldn't you be spending your time writing, or like, are you trying to like build a network of like future clients or something at school, or people who you can fall back on? Like, what's the objective with it all? I really wonder about him. I think he's a psychopath. I really do. I think, and he's the son of a psychiatrist, so it wouldn't surprise me much if he's a psychopath. But then I meet up with him later on in life, and it appears he's working in London as a literary agent, or not a literary agent, but like an assistant agent, i.e. phone bitch. But yeah, he's like ingratiated himself into that circle, or is trying to. And like that sort of circle is like made up of like, well, goodness knows who are older than him and wiser than him, and realize what his little game is. And they're sort of allowing it a little bit in case he comes up with something good, but like repelling him at the same time. I imagine because he's quite annoying. And then he's also managed to ingratiate himself with, ironically enough, well, bizarrely enough, like London crime circles, it seems. Like gangsters, or like dodgy types in London, or like old East Endish types. And like met some like crime people on the Riviera in France on a holiday. Like he made like me worried about my safety for quite a long time, and like, and it's like, well, who the fuck are you, really? What are the only reasons you need to gain someone's trust? You never need to gain someone's trust, do you? Like, when do you need to gain someone's trust? People either trust you or they don't. That's the thing about trust, isn't it? If you try to gain someone's trust, they might trust you, but they won't trust you for very long, I don't think. And, or fuck it, they might. I don't know. Yeah. You need to gain someone's trust for selling them something, which I was frankly hopeless at as a salesman. You need to get someone's trust for having sex. But then again, I've never been able to do that either. Well, not very well anyway. But then again, all the people I've had sex with They're the sorts of people who trust me implicitly, and I've ended up having sex with them because I like them also. So, yeah, my attitude towards trusting other people, well, not trusting other people, but getting other people to trust me, is I'm like, well, if you don't trust me, there's not a hell of a lot I can do about that. But then again, because of this other guy now, I suppose, like, really, there is something I can do about that. If I had to really put a lot of effort and focus and attention into that end, I might well be able to achieve it. But I don't know. Well, but then again, I do other things with my time. So, and also I've never been able to have a large circle of friends or acquaintances and maintain it. I usually have like one friend or like one best friend and then about 4 or 5 peripheral friends. And then a larger circle of acquaintances. But like with my best friend, usually, do we trust one another? No. Also, that's the other thing. Like, in those sorts of relationships, with the best friend, it's like, yeah, we're best friends, but we don't trust each other as far as we can throw one another. That's the thing about it. Like, do I trust my best friend? Not at all. I might do fleetingly, but no, in a sense, with the best friend, that's when I'm most on my guard because I know they're going to try and do something or like fuck me up in some way, or like they're going to throw me a curveball, so I've got to watch out. Like, all in jest, of course, but do I trust them? No. I don't think people, like particularly men, really sit around with their friends discussing their problems, do we? Or like we might at low moments, but what we like to do is take the piss out of one another and attack one another, which is, yeah, more interesting in a way. And yeah, like the best friendship that's built out of mistrust, not trust. And trust is an interesting concept, I think, because you only need it, you only want it, or if you want trust from other people, this is crucial, I think. If you're out to get other people's trust, it means there's a problem with you. It means, well, like, it means on some inherent and fundamental level, you are not worthy of trust. Or you're devious and duplicitous or fraudulent in some way, and you absolutely must not be trusted. But all too often, people like this get insanely adept and gaining trust, and can do it routinely and just know every fucking beat to do to gain the trust. And yeah, and then hit you with the pitch or the this, that, and the other, or the I don't know, like you up to what some weird scheme or another, and like with this guy I used to know, it was very much like that. It was one little scam after another. It was always something going on. And I always had to be on the lookout. So I was going to get £5,000 from the Sun newspaper for this bullshit about a member of JLS, which is what he tried to pull with the Sun. Like, I'm going to commit fraud. Like, you're not going to drag me along with you, are you? This isn't on some level like because you're trying to stitch me up, is it? And I don't know. I mean, that's my own self-centered paranoia, I think. But yeah, he would. Or is he genuinely after $5,000? I don't know. Like the amount of trouble you could get yourself in over $5,000, it's just not fucking worth it. Think of it, it's a national newspaper. It's the country's biggest tabloid. They'll have people all over the place. They'll have people in the police, in government, in like it embedded in every sphere of society, feeding them tip-offs. You know, they'll have them in private security and goodness knows where. Like, they'll have PIs all over the place. You know, undercover cops feeding them this, that, and the other, or like people like that, you know. And like, by the way, other journalists and figures in the media, like, and who knows, organized crime, who knows? Like, do you really want to be getting involved with that? I try to shoot him that sort of look every now and then as he was going through this. But I'm also very much a sort of let the fool persist in his folly sort of person. And I'll let someone dig a hole for themselves. I don't give a fuck. But he would. Oh, he would. Oh, yeah. It's like media. Like, I've always wanted to be in the media. I've always wanted to be a journalist. But I've wanted to be a comedian more. And a writer more, like what I consider to be a higher form of writer, which is like the writer of fiction and good non-fiction, like books of non-fiction and so on. But that's sort of beside the point. But I'd love to do journalism as an adjunct to that. And yeah, like I sort of had an understanding at that point as a 16-year-old. I was like, you're doing this. Why are you doing this? You're destined for Cambridge University. And he did end up going to Cambridge University. And you want to be a barrister. Why are you getting involved in petty crime with a tabloid? It made no sense. $5,000. Like, it might have been that. Oh, God. Oh. How can I figure this person out? Like, on some levels, like, because he was slightly younger than me when I met him. He was 6 months younger than me. He's a 15-year-old at A levels, like one of these sort of semi-prodigy types. He outperformed me by quite a bit at GCSE. He got straight A stars barring 1A, and I got three A's, 3 B's, and 3 C's. So I was lazy, and I was like, he was doing that though. I don't understand, because on a level, well, I'm not doing this thing, which is stupid, so I'm clearly cleverer than he is. But yet again, perhaps I'm missing something, and is this part of some larger stratagem? And actually, he's cleverer than I am, but this is also, and he's getting me involved with it on the periphery to stitch me up. Is that it? But in addition to being far cleverer than I am, he's also deeply malicious, and and he's out to hurt me. So I've just been watching this video about the Buddhist perspective on false friends, and got like the taker, the flatterer, the reckless one, and one other I can't remember. But the more I thought about it, I was like, he might be 2 out of 3 of them, or 2 out of 4, or 3 out of 4 of them. on various levels. Cunning, devious, manipulative. Yeah, on a level cleverer than me. But on a level like you're doing that. You're selling a fraudulent tip-off to a tabloid newspaper. Well, that's dumb. Why are you doing something dumb if you're so clever? And now I'm suspicious of you. That's forgetting everything to do with the book I was writing. Because this happened before that. I wish I could figure him out. I really do. And yeah, he had this allure, this mystique. Like adults, teachers would just sing his praises. And, they would all like fall over themselves to, he's the chosen one almost. He will go to Oxford, and that's all they really want, really, from a student. But at the sorts of schools I went to, but and that perhaps that's it. That's it about gaining people's trust. You have to give them what they want, and all these adults were being given what they want by him, and I wasn't going to give that to them, and they sort of knew that because of my GCSE results. So, yeah, he went there with power and a knowledge of his own power, which I think is a dangerous concoction in a person. And he was corrupt at 15. Goodness knows what he's like now. And goodness knows what he's up to now. Or what he's trying to get involved with. Because if it's an organised crime thing, and if he's involved with gangsters, like, they will almost certainly be out to exploit him. And he probably doesn't realise. Or maybe he thinks he can exploit them, but he just wouldn't be able to. And he's testing the limits of his own manipulativeness, or his own ability to gain people's trust and manipulate them. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, like, why would you want to gain people's trust? Why? Why do you want anyone to trust you? Like, if you have that as a desire in you, like the desire to gain people's trust, I think you're not to be trusted. And that's a big problem. I don't know. If you're going out looking for people all the time, if you're trying to acquire marks in life and like con them or do them over in some way or get something from them, I think it's actually something I don't understand. I don't understand why people do it. I think it's a mark of a deep insecurity within you, and you're trying to conceal something or other, or you're trying to compensate for something or other. Whereas what I do is half the time I push people away from me, actually at a subconscious level. I say, get away from me. I don't want to talk to you at all. Not really. And I don't mean to be rude. I'm sorry, but no. And people shrink from me. They're like, no, it's a weirdo. Bahoy TV 100. Hello, mate. Hello, mate. How are you? I'm about to end this, by the way, so your comment's a little redundant at this point. I think, yeah, sorry, Bahoy TV 100 and everyone else who's watching, which is probably like 0 people at all. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this one up for now, I think. And thank you very much for watching. Bye bye bye. And I love you lots as always. Bye.